Welcome to Cold Brew Finance's U.S. End-of-Week Deep Dive, covering market moves in indexes, sectors, stocks, and global markets for the week ending Friday, September 26, 2025. Kicking things off, I'm Max Profit. Major indexes closed lower this week after hitting record highs earlier. The S&P 500 index ended at 6,643.71, down 20.66 points. The Dow 30 index finished at 46,247.30, slipping 67.98 points. The Nasdaq Composite closed at 22,484.7, declining 147.41 points. Market breadth showed mixed signals this week. The S&P 500 saw 234 advances versus 262 declines. The Nasdaq Composite showed more strength with 1,682 advances against 1,490 declines. The S&P 400 midcap had notably more decliners at 225 versus 173 advancers. Looking at monthly performance, the Nasdaq Composite leads with a 4.8% gain, while the S&P 500 is up 2.8%. Year-to-date, the Nasdaq shows impressive growth of 16.4%, followed by the S&P 500 at 13%. Over the longer term, the Nasdaq Composite dominates with a 10-year annual rate of return of 17%. The S&P 500 follows at 13.1%, while the Dow maintained 11% annually over the same period.
Checking out best and worst performing equities, I'm Penny Stock. uniQure soared nearly 292% to 54.31, hitting a new one-year high. New Era Helium surged 238% to 1.84, establishing a new all-time high while closing up 3 consecutive weeks. Looking at weekly returns, uniQure showed exceptional performance with a 291% weekly return. New Era Helium posted a 238% weekly gain, while Applied Therapeutics recorded a 185% weekly advance. On longer timeframes, uniQure shows remarkable strength with a 993% one-year return. Applied Therapeutics maintains positive momentum with a 30% three-year gain, though Soluna shows weakness over the 10-year span. Among large caps, Intel led gainers, jumping 20% to 35.50 with strong upward momentum. Electronic Arts climbed 11.7% to 193.35, marking a new all-time high. Halliburton advanced 11.5% amid heightened volatility. Weekly returns show Intel leading with a 20% gain, while Teradyne and Electronic Arts posted impressive gains of 12.9% and 11.7% respectively. Xcel Energy rounded out top performers with a 9.9% advance. Looking at longer-term performance, Teradyne stands out with a 681% 10-year return. Electronic Arts shows consistent strength with a 178% decade gain, while Xcel Energy maintains steady growth at 127% over 10 years. Among decliners, Work Medical Technology plummeted 89.7% to 0.8, hitting a new all-time low. Smart Digital Group dropped 86.6% amid strong downward volatility, while Zhengye Biotechnology fell 80% in its second consecutive down week. Weekly returns highlight the severity of losses, with Work Medical Technology down 89.7%, Smart Digital Group falling 86.6%, and Zhengye Biotechnology declining 80%. Soligenix broke down after 29 days of sideways movement. Leading this week's worst performers, Work Medical Technology plunged nearly 90% to close at 8 cents, hitting a new all-time low. Smart Digital Group and Zhengye Biotechnology also recorded significant losses, dropping 87% and 80% respectively, with both hitting new lows amid strong downward volatility. Among large caps, CarMax led declines, falling 23% to 44.86, marking its fourth consecutive down week and a new yearly low. Freeport-McMoRan dropped 20% amid strong downward volatility, while QURE hit an all-time low at 16.42. Weekly performance metrics show CarMax with the steepest decline at -23%, dragging its year-to-date return to -45%. Freeport-McMoRan and QURE also struggled, with month-to-date losses of 19% and 21% respectively. Looking at longer-term performance, CarMax shows sustained weakness with a -43% three-year return. Despite recent declines, KKR maintains strong long-term growth with a 10-year return of 668%. Coinbase has outperformed over 3 years despite this week's pullback.
And now onto U.S. sector performance, where energy and utilities led the gains this week. Energy surged 4.6% with strong upward volatility, while utilities rose 2.8%, breaking out after 3 days of consolidation. Technology hit a new all-time high, marking its fourth consecutive weekly gain. Market breadth shows strength in energy, with advancing stocks outpacing decliners nearly 3-1. Utilities also showed positive breadth. Despite real estate's price gain, its internal metrics revealed more declining stocks than advancers, suggesting some underlying weakness. Weekly returns highlight energy's strong performance, up 4.7%. Utilities followed with a 2.8% gain. Technology leads year-to-date returns at 20.1%, while industrials has gained 15.8% this year. Long-term performance shows technology dominating with a 10-year ARR of 23.5%. Utilities and industrials delivered steady returns of 7.3% and 11.6% respectively over the same period. Real estate has been the weakest performer, down 5.1% over the past year.
Energy stocks showed remarkable strength this week. Halliburton led gains, rising 11.5% to 25.11, showing strong upward volatility and 3 consecutive weekly gains. EQT and Texas Pacific Land followed with gains of 9.9% and 9% respectively. Valero Energy hit a new one-year high at 175.63. Looking at returns, Halliburton posted the strongest weekly performance with a 2.2% average daily return. Valero Energy shows impressive year-to-date gains of 43%. EQT has maintained steady growth with a 17% return since January. Long-term performance shows Texas Pacific Land delivering exceptional 10-year returns of nearly 1,900%. Valero Energy and EQT both show positive momentum with 3-year annual returns above 11%, while Devon Energy has faced challenges with negative returns across multiple timeframes.
The worst-performing sectors showed mixed signals this week. Communication services led declines, falling 2.7% despite hitting a new all-time high last week. Basic materials dropped 2% in its second consecutive down week. Consumer defensive continued showing weakness with its third straight weekly decline. Market breadth data reveals concerning patterns. Consumer cyclical showed significant weakness, with decliners outnumbering advancers by a 280 to 200 ratio. Consumer defensive also displayed poor breadth, with 125 decliners versus 81 advancers. Healthcare showed some resilience in daily figures. Looking at returns, communication services posted the largest weekly decline at -2.7%, despite maintaining strong year-to-date gains of 24.8%. Basic materials and consumer defensive both showed weakness across multiple timeframes. Long-term performance metrics reveal consumer cyclical has maintained the strongest 10-year return at 223%, averaging 12.4% annually. Healthcare has struggled with negative returns over the past year at minus 11.5%. Consumer defensive shows the weakest long-term performance among the group.
Communication services stocks showed weakness this week. Match led the declines, falling 5.8% to 36.24. Meta Platforms and Alphabet also retreated, though Alphabet maintains a very strong upward trend despite pulling back from last week's record high. Looking at returns, Meta Platforms and Alphabet show strong year-to-date performance, up 27% and 30% respectively. AT&T continues its downward streak, marking 3 consecutive weekly declines, while Netflix shows relatively modest movement. Long-term performance reveals Netflix leading with a remarkable 1,084% 10-year total return. Meta Platforms and Alphabet both delivered strong decade-long gains of 701% and 670% respectively, while AT&T notably lagged with just 16% growth.
Thanks for watching. I'm Max Profit, along with my AI co-host, Penny Stock. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. Cold Brew Finance is an experimental project with market reports written, narrated, and delivered totally by AI, with market data kindly provided by financialmodelingprep.com. Always seek professional financial advice before making any investment decisions. Check into the channel daily for coverage of stocks, crypto, currency, and commodities. Thanks for watching.